All right, here with Matt Wallace, a relatively not new anymore to Cornerstone. Matt, you've been with us for how long at Cornerstone now?
It'll be 3 years in October.
Wow, that long already.
Yeah.
It's great. Well, tell us a little bit about you. Maybe a little bit of your background, where you come from, and why you're at Cornerstone now, and like what are you doing at Cornerstone specifically?
Sure. So I grew up in Indiana, just on the north side of Indianapolis, and went to college at Taylor University, similar to Cornerstone, maybe a rival in some instances. Definitely bleed.
Never heard of Taylor. Who's Taylor? I never heard of him.
Yeah, I definitely bleed blue and gold now instead of purple and gold.
All right.
Maybe have a little purple in there. But got a degree in education, became a teacher. I got married. I was a teacher in a school district on the north side of Indianapolis for close to 20 years. Got into administration. My wife's a physical therapist. We adopted 4 children. Two of our children we adopted from Haiti. 2 we kind of did foster or guardian to adopt. Mm-hmm. And felt the call about a little over 3 years ago to really pursue something different. Was real intrigued with Christian higher ed. Always thought it would probably be back at Taylor. Never in my wildest dreams thought it would be Michigan. And had an opportunity to connect with Cornerstone through Professor Burgess, and met with her, and a lot of my areas of expertise and areas of focus from a Cornerstone teacher standpoint fit what their needs were in a position they were posting, and so that's how we got here. The other part of that was I was repartnering with Friendship Sports International, which was great timing because they were hoping to retie back into some colleges that they hadn't connected with, and so it was kind of a great opportunity.
Yeah, well, really, when you look back on it, the real reason why you came to Michigan, because the basketball is better in Michigan than it is in Indiana, right?
That's entrapment right there, right? The basketball in Michigan is very good. Actually, I can answer that. I would say the level of play in Michigan and Indiana is pretty comparable. I would say the level of community involvement, not as much.
Not even close. Not even close. That's okay. I think most people in Indiana would definitely agree with that, and most people in Michigan would definitely agree with that.
Now, in Michigan, I would say the football is where it's at in terms of community involvement and crowd support. So Michigan's got its things, Indiana's got its things, and I'm adapting.
What is some of the things from Indiana that you miss? What do you miss about being down there?
Friends and family. When you lived in one town for 20 years, I also, it was a town similar to like Sparta. I was on the edge of the city, or a town maybe like Jenison, probably more as a better comparison. And now I'm living in Grand Rapids, and so it's a bigger place. I had to kind of rediscover community. We were in the same church, same school district, same everything for 20 years. So that's probably the, maybe one of the, but it's not far. It's not like it's, on the other side of the world. It's 3.5 hours. So it's a day trip. And that's probably the biggest thing. They're very, community-wise, it's very comparable. And there's a lot of things here that I've really enjoyed and enjoyed getting to connect.
Now, you had mentioned, obviously, you're here doing some teaching, doing some work in the educational department here on campus, but you also mentioned Friendship Sports International. That's where I wanted to kind of go with a majority of this, of how you've used that ministry opportunity, and you're bringing it even into our department in athletics at Cornerstone. And being the athletic director, it's been really neat to see our students and our coaches grab onto something where they want to serve in his kingdom. And that's been such a big point for us, as it's one of our biggest focal points that we talk about every year. Like, how can we get out and serve, whether it's domestically, internationally, however that can be done. Explain that and how you've taken that ministry opportunity and expanded it via sport.
Yeah, it's a big reason why I'm here. I mean, ministry has always been a part of my family's life. My wife and I, we worked at a church as children's directors, and we've always had a hand in something. It seems like we've always had our hand in sports, in education, and in ministry. And so coming here, those three aspects were a big part of what God's called us to be. In Indiana, I was a varsity coach at a public high school, but I was also involved in the church and in ministry and then in teaching. So coming here, I've coached a little bit, but really the focus has been discipleship. Friendship sports had a huge impact on me as a student athlete at Taylor. And we partner with Christian college teams kind of differently than maybe some other sports ministries do, because in the old days, Athletes in Action and those teams would look to form these all-star teams and go travel and then share the gospel. But the idea of what we do is we try to find departments like Cornerstone where we can really like build partnership and say, how can we walk alongside coaches and athletes and do discipleship through service, through mission. And so we do it both domestically and internationally. And so really what I've done in my time at Cornerstone is I've tried to build relationships. I've tried to build relationships with coaches. I've tried to build relationships with athletes, with administrators, just to say, I'm just here to walk alongside you. I don't want your job. I don't want to take over anything you're already doing really well. I want to just say, what do we have that we can offer you to really build the culture of living out a Christ-centered mission through athletics. I believe athletics can be an amazing platform to share the gospel, but also to disciple, to really, the old famous John Wooden quote, sports reveals character, it doesn't just build it. But I want to help build it. I still think at this age and at this level, we can really learn and grow and understand what true Christ-like community is. And so I think sports is a great avenue to do that. So yeah, jumping in here, I've done some Bible studies with some ad hoc groups of athletes. We've done some one-on-one leadership stuff with some track athletes, JV athletes. I enjoy working with the JV athletes. So we took JV basketball players to Detroit, and we did a basketball camp in inner city Detroit, and we just absolutely had a blast. I had a JV baseball player, Joel Van Dyke, was an intern this semester, and he's just been fabulous. So we do a lot in Detroit. We do a lot of sports camps, and we partner with Max Sports, which is the Lower East Side sports program, Christ Center. And then we also have friendship sports in ministry in Honduras. They were working to start a sports program there in a village called La Venta. We have a campground there that has basketball courts, tennis courts, soccer fields. And over the last 25 years, FSI helped build that camp. It's not owned by FSI, but we do have missionaries on the ground there. But we've also had partnerships in Guatemala and Haiti. So there's a lot of facets to what we do, but it's really not about us. It's about how can we walk alongside you, and help each other fulfill our calling. And I just absolutely love that. It energizes me. Everything from having lunch in the cafeteria with the coaches to helping meet with them and their team leaders to say, what do we need to do to go to the next level of discipleship in our sport and really make a difference. So that's kind of a broad overview of what that mission is.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest passions for me is enabling our student athletes to then lead their fellow student athletes. And I love that idea, especially in a servant way of doing it in mission work. And I've never been on one. As a student athlete, I didn't really have the opportunity here when I was in school. I went to Cornerstone as well. But my passion as we started the golf outing, this will be our 5th year of the golf outing this next fall in August or summer, if you want to call it that, is every dollar that we raise goes directly to give the opportunity for every student athlete to go on a mission trip, whether it's cross-culture or across the state. And so I think the biggest thing for me is how can we invest in those student athletes to then spark a fire. And I've seen so many student athletes that have come along that have been to Africa, that have been to the Caribbean, somewhere down there, as you mentioned, Honduras and Haiti and things like that. And then they're in a major, they want to go this way, they go on a mission trip, and all of a sudden their life has changed. And how have you seen that with student athletes over the years in kind of their vocational calling change a little bit in more of that mission work?
Well, I went to Honduras on a baseball trip in 1995, and through FSI, and it totally changed everything for me. I mean, it changed my global perspective. I didn't understand a lot beyond my little world, and I mean, it changed my family. We've adopted internationally. It changed a lot of my interests. God really used that trip to impact me and broaden my view of what the global church is, not just my little church in my little hometown. And I've seen that and wanted to really provide that for student athletes here at Cornerstone. And I've seen that. I watched women's soccer in our first trip in 2018. There were some that went into that trip not real thrilled, and not with the greatest of attitudes. And they came out of that trip, the culture of that team coming out of that trip, it wasn't me. All I was the conduit. But God really used that trip to impact that team. Randy did a phenomenal job of bringing alumni in as a part of that, to just really talk about culture and talk about what is a winning culture. And we get caught up in the record, right? Which is important. That's important. But there's winning culture is a lot bigger than that. And I saw the girls come out of that trip and go back right into their season and just play free and play for each other. And really, and it's much easier said than done if you've been an athlete. And I think that these types of trips really help cultivate the real reason why we do what we do, and help us to think outside ourselves. I steal it from a coach at a school that I will not name in Indiana, but it's this idea of I am third. Yeah. God first, others second, me third. And I think that everything I try to do, I want to filter through that lens and help our athletes at Cornerstone learn how to embrace that. So I've seen it in men's soccer league, and what you said, just really empowering them to be the leaders.
Right.
We're talking about young men and women. We're talking about the future leaders of churches, of small groups, of sports teams, coaches, and the ability to just water their seed a little bit, and really help them grow is awesome. And so I've seen it in a lot of our athletes just in a short period of time here at Cornerstone, really seen that interest and growth, whether it's taking them to Detroit or just across the state, or taking them across the Gulf to Honduras.
Definitely. Well, it's been great to see that impact that you've already had in our department, and some of the student athletes that I've gotten to know really well over the last couple of years, and some of the impact that you've had on them. It's evident. So I really appreciate your involvement in that. And I'm looking forward to what's ahead. I don't know what's ahead internationally, to be honest, but I know that God's going to keep doing big things, whether it's in our own state, whether it's domestically, and whether it's internationally. So I'm excited for that. But let's flip the switch a little bit here. Let's go into. I could talk about this stuff all day, and I know you could. It's a huge passion for you. But getting to know you a little bit better, I'm going to go into a little bit of rapid fire here. So let's have some fun. I asked this to every person I've interviewed. It might be a little bit more difficult, but think about your department that you're in. So the educational department, that group. You are stuck on an island with one person from that department, or let's just say faculty, right? You get one person to choose. Who are you going to choose of all the people that you work with to be stuck on an island for the rest of your life?
That's tough, because
it's
if
tough.
I'm going to watch this, I'm going to be in trouble next meeting, and I'm the only guy, So I'd have to probably say.
You can pick a coach too if you want. If you want to go that route.
One of our coaches?
You can pick a coach too.
Oh man, I'd want to take all them. They're an absolute blast. I could pick different reasons why I would pick. I would love to get Coach E on an island. There's no.
That would be great.
Because then he'd have to talk to me. No, I would love to spend time with him because there is so much up there that I keep trying to learn from. I probably drive him crazy because I want to ask questions, because when I get around people that have been around and really done things really well, I love to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And it just intrigues me. From our division, probably Dr. Burgess. She's a hoot. She's our leader. She loves sports. She loves community and just make things fun and energetic. And she's been a huge impact on our division, but also student athletes that are in education.
For sure. A huge supporter of athletics. And I would say a lot of people in the teacher education division have been huge supporters.
They're all cool.
It's great. Yeah. Fantastic. All right. What's your favorite movie?
Oh, man. Probably Hoosiers.
Shocker.
Shocker. You know, I won't say what age I was when that movie came out, but it was a big, big, big deal. I had friends in the movie. It was filmed all over our area. And I may or may not have cried when I first saw it. No, that's a big one for me. I also like really cool, like hero westerns like Tombstone or
okay.
I'm a Denzel fan. I love Denzel Washington, so anything with him in it.
For sure. You got one meal to be cooked for you. What would you choose?
Pizza.
Pizza. You get one meal to be cooked, and you want pizza.
I love pizza.
What are you having on your pizza?
I'm pretty boring, dude. I'm a Midwestern guy, so I'm the sausage and pepperoni with maybe some banana peppers.
Okay.
I'm good with that. Now, if you could say maybe like some real like Honduran tortillas, you know, but none of this Taco Bell stuff, you know, then I might go that route too.
That's good. Favorite color?
Red.
Favorite number?
5.
Favorite book you've read?
The Bible.
It's a good choice. Good choice. All right. Last question, a little bit more serious. We're all in this together. We're all separate, but we're all in this together. We keep saying that, right? A lot of people said, hey, we're in this together. Let's get through this together. I don't know when this is going to air. We're going to put this up on social media and stuff. But what's the message that you can send to your fellow faculty, the students at Cornerstone, and just our campus in general, like just how to hang in there during this time?
I'm thankful to be a part of a community like Cornerstone that's so selfless. This is really tough time for higher ed. You know, there's so many unknowns. You know, students are trying to navigate, and I think this is where faith, you know, our faith really, you know, needs to be rooted so that we're not driven by fear. Mm-hmm. It's easy to set and I think and be driven by fear of what's student teaching going to look like for me as I'm a student teacher next semester. Will I be in the dorm, or what's my season going to look like? And what happens, I think, is fear can really take root. And so we have to be grounded in His Word. We have to be grounded in each other. Mm-hmm. I miss the cafeteria. I miss seeing you and the coaches. I miss the faculty and the students, because that's community. So we have to really work at it. I think we have to work it. We have to work at this community piece and know that I've got you, you've got me, and we're just continuing to support one another through this. And then just, you know, lean on family. And, you know, there's been a lot of blessings in the midst of this for me. And not everybody maybe can say that. I understand. But, you know, just not allowing fear to be the driver, but allowing faith.
Definitely.
To be the driver. So that's what I'm clinging to.
It's good. It's good. Well, thanks for joining me today. It's been great to get to know you a little better, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to do, not only in athletics, but also across the campus.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Matt.